video. I'm gonna probably make 2 back to back. I just wanted to point it out while it came to mind. On the day, during that conversation with Jeremy, my final conversation with him over the phone on November 26th in the barn office, that I suspect David Saintsing was listening in on, where Jeremy told me he had the full backing of David Saintsing, that I didn't have to take any rides out, and that they just wanted me to focus on my barn duties, and that Jeremy was going to train me up when he got back. Jeremy was speaking to me like I was a little girl. Straight up. Because I was just saying, he said, I heard you, because earlier in that day, I was like venting to Jorge, and Quinn was there off to the side, that like, I don't know, I wasn't sure about this job because I just felt like nothing I did was right. I wouldn't realize till later, till maybe like a week or two after that day, this day that I'm speaking of. So one of the reasons I'm feeling that is because I realized Jorge's freaking picking me, finding reasons like wrong, and that's gonna be my next video that I make. The back-to-back video, this big ass truck going by. I'm gonna be talking about a lot more of the inconsistencies and like stuff that with the routine around the barn, and Jorge finding like where I started to realize Jorge's like finding reasons to take issue with me, like. And then when I started trying to establish, like, okay, I need some boundaries, or I need to, like, know some exact routines so that I'm not, like, lagging, so that you don't have a reason to complain. Like, he actually started to get kind of, I saw the anger on his face. Like, he was not pleased that I was like, I need to know, like, exactly when you want this done so that I know when to do it. Like, because, anyway. But during the conversation with Jeremy, he straight up was talking, so he called me, Jorge had just taken a ride out, and said, like, he wanted to talk to me because he'd heard that I was having some issues, and I was like, because I wasn't fully aware of, like, what the issues were. I mean, first of all, it was just back-to-back, like, there were issues with my paycheck, because the management changeover, and, nobody wanted, and then I was put on the owner's payroll, and they were paying with paper checks, which are like, it's like 2022. Who the F is with paper paychecks anymore? A and B, like, I did graphic design work for Elaine Crowell, their HR manager, for another one of their locations. She hired me to design a cocktail menu for them. And she paid me for that via PayPal. And I was having some real issues getting the paper paycheck that they were paying me with after they moved me over to their payroll from the one manager, Laura Halley's payroll. I was having real issues. Nobody wanted to freaking cash their paper paycheck. Nobody freaking trusted it. I had no trouble getting paper paychecks cashed on PayPal and stuff, and Cash App. I use those now. I don't use a bank account because, like, why am I going to pay them a management fee and all that when, like, I've been getting paid via PayPal and Cash App and using cryptocurrency and stuff for years without any issue. And also, once in a while, like, if I have a paper paycheck, I don't, like, you can get those cash through PayPal and Cash App. And even the Walmart MoneyGram place, like the Money Center check cashing place, they didn't even want to have anything to do with the paper paychecks I was getting paid with. I was like, damn, seriously? I can't get this cashed even in town? Like, it was like a solid after they fired the first manager, it was like a solid 2 weeks, and it was probably more like maybe between 2 and 3 weeks that I was trying. I was like, no money, need to get my medicine, need to get food, like trying desperately to figure out a way to get my paper paycheck cashed. And by the way, it's like near impossible to get into town, especially if you work in the barn. And your shift is you have 3 shifts a day, and plus more if you have rides in between. And yeah. So I was having real issues, even just like having some money I needed to get some food and medicine. And I contacted Elaine and was like, please, can't you just cancel this check you sent me, the paper check. I'll leave it in the front office for you, and you can just pay me my paycheck via PayPal, like you paid me for the cocktail menu. Can you just do that? No, the response is like, I have to check and see if that's okay, and that's all last I heard about it. And I tried every which damn way. Finally, one of the nice coworkers that I work with, he was able to like help me out cashing my paper paycheck through his bank, because like just the owners and Little Miss HR, Elaine, didn't give a shit that I was really having trouble buying the stuff I needed, because they couldn't just simply send me my paycheck via PayPal or Cash App. And I would get direct deposit paychecks through Cash App from the previous manager that they fired. And so then that was the next issue. It was already kind of shitty enough, because this is 2022, dudes. You need to get with the times. Most people my generation and younger are going to expect to be paid pretty instantly in the era of PayPal and Cash App and Venmo and cryptocurrencies. And I mean, like, we've had credit cards and bank cards and stuff forever. It's really like, what's the deal with that? What was the deal with that? That's ridiculous. Especially when it's that tells me you don't have your employees' backs. You knew that I was really desperate for money for my food and medicine, and you're like, I don't give a shit. Like, it was an easy solve, and you couldn't be bothered to solve it. You really didn't have your employees' backs, and I think you guys are really just trying to push on me reasons to have me quit based in roughly the time that you wanted me to quit. You you didn't want me to quit too soon. You wanted me there for roughly 3 months. And then you wanted me gone. Because you need an American citizen working in that barn. Even though you'd rather, be paying just illegal immigrants a bunch of cheap labor, and then packing them into the bunkhouse, the illegal immigrant bunkhouse, out back behind the post office. So you can get buku money for all the lots, and you don't have, American citizens taking up the lots, right? So anyway, so you'd rather just have probably Jeremy in there with an illegal immigrant sidekick helper than 2 American citizens in that barn. Because then that's 2 lots. And that's more pay you're paying. Right. I see your game. Fucking pig. Disgusting pigs. Ugh. Pig pricks. Y'all are about as filthy. Did I say this already in another video? Let me say it again. You're as filthy as maggots crawling around inside the ass of a dead rat. I swear. It was an easy fix. I know if I were an owner / HR manager of a company or something, I would be like, we need to fix this for our employee. We're supposed to have our employees back. She needs food. She needs her medicine. She's having issues getting the paper check cashed. We've already paid her for a graphic design job that she did for us via PayPal. This is an easy fix. A. B. So then, it's shitty enough that we wouldn't even get our paper paychecks till Wednesday. We turn our timesheets in on Sunday. We wouldn't get our paper paychecks till Wednesday. And then they asked us for direct deposit information. And we were all like, woohoo! We're going to get our direct deposits, and we should be getting it even sooner than Wednesday, right? Same day or maybe next day at the very least, right? Yeah. So some employees didn't give them direct deposit information. They continued to collect paper paychecks. Some of us, Mike and Rebecca, they were also the ones who gave direct deposit, and myself gave them direct deposit information. Guess what that meant? That meant we didn't get our paychecks deposited till 5 freaking days after we turned in our timesheets. So it was extended then from Wednesday to Friday evening, late evening, end of the business day, Friday. So they're throwing off our pay all the which way. And like people got automated payments, we got medicine, we got all kinds, like we got needs. When you're throwing off our pay, you're fucking us up. And even I'm not the only employee that they were fucking up. Like I heard plenty of other complaints from people going like, yeah, we got first of the month bills coming up. We need our paycheck. Like what the F? Like, you know, we got shit we gotta buy. We got food we need. Like, you know, I got pets. I got duh. Anyway, I'm not the only person that's affected. But maybe it just affected me the most severely because I was just coming out of like scraping by in the dunes in my hometown. Just started a job there and then got kicked out of the dunes and needed a new place because I couldn't bike to work anymore if I couldn't park my RV in a place and it like it's close enough. And had come back across the country from LA and used up my savings doing that. And by the way, again, mind you, like I'm in no small part, like some of my travel was research into the cold. And I'm trying to get shut down because I prioritize other things besides money. And typically, the people who have the most money are the people who think about money the most. It means their first and last thought is, how do I make money off of this? Not like, should that be my first or last thought? They don't think like, why do I and should I? They don't think those things. They think, I want. How do I get it? How do I get it? How do I get it? Money. Cheap. Right, David? Anyway. So, damn, I'm going down a rabbit hole again. I didn't mean to. Yeah, so it was just shit on top of shit. So first of all, that was fucking with me. The whole thing with the paychecks and the money. I'm not the only person it was fucking with. And this was also after my cat had died, and Jorge seemed kind of cold about it. And I'm not sure if this was right, but quite before or after Jorge, that's gonna be another video. Jorge was suggesting to me I needed to marry a Mexican man, maybe one of his Mexican friends, so that they could get a green card and I could get paid maybe $10,000 cash. Yeah. I shut that shit down. I'm going to make another video. Oh, yeah. I'll make another video about it. Do you think maybe they were setting me up that way to make it so that I would really need the money? And then they'd snowball me. They'd soft serve me that suggestion. Hey, maybe you should help bring one of our illegal immigrant dudes over. Legally. You need the money, don't you? You get a few $1,000s for sullying the institution of marriage and those promises and my word by just marrying some dude I don't give a shit about for money. Yeah, maybe any of it was set up for that. David, since you love your little illegal immigrant workers, I don't know. I'm just wondering, I'm just trying to suss out, like, how much of this is planned between y'all, because I just started to feel like, really, put on display. So I don't know how much of you guys were behind the scenes working on it. I don't know. Or if it was just separate nonsense between all of you. Boys will be boys. Like separate nonsense coming from all angles, from all these different dudes, or if it was just like they were all doing some kind of nonsense in unison towards a unified goal involving me. I'm trying to suss that out. Anyway. Where was I? Oh yeah, so that was a lot of that stuff. A lot of stuff was contributing to my starting to feel like, I don't know if this job is right for me. I feel like and it was also already starting to feel like, did they just bring me in just for Jeremy? Like Jeremy's absence, like just while he's on vacation. And what made me feel like, okay, maybe I'm wrong about that, is Jeremy was all like, very much like, oh, I'm going to train you when I get back. I'm going to train you, yeah. Like, I started to, and also, again, I was not feeling okay with my riding abilities because Jorge was picking me apart about them, but also I started to realize, like, he's saying opposite things. I need to do opposite things. Like, I'll say I have to do it one way this time, and then the next time I say I have to do it like the opposite way. It's like, make up your damn mind. Like, he was looking for reasons to pick me apart, and a lot of the stuff he said was contradictory, and I think that's when he started to realize, like, oh shit, she might be smart. When I started, like, going, like, you need to tell me exactly what you want done at what times, because I'm starting to feel like, I don't know, I'm not getting, like, the straight schedule or whatever. We'll get into it in another video. Again, I'm going to go over, like, more details, some of that. So Jeremy is talking, I'm trying to explain this to Jeremy. Like, I'm just not feeling like I'm fitting in here, or like I'm not doing it well. Because I couldn't quite still put my finger on, like, what the issue was. I knew there was a bunch of, like, there were a bunch of issues I knew were issues, like the paycheck thing and stuff, but I hadn't quite, like, upturned the realization, like, overturned the realization that, like, oh, Jorge's picking me the fuck apart over shit that, like, and Jeremy started talking to me, like, and I was like, oh yeah, like, in my pill, like, certain issues, like, because Jorge would tell me just last minute, like, that I was going to be tacking up and joining a ride, and it's like, that can throw me off if I'm expecting I'm going to be able to, like, run back to my RV and grab my medicine once I've gotten the horses tacked up and everything and him off on his ride, and before I start mucking or whatever, like, because I'll know, like, oh, my pill or whatever, I'll have to take that. But first I should run into the barn. We got a tack up for the horse ride Jorge is going out on. So I'll know, like, my pill's coming up in like 30 minutes or so, and it's like, I'll know, well, I will get tacked up and all that, get them all tacked up and out, and I can run back and grab my pill, because it'll be about time to, like, take it then. Well, that kind of gets thrown off too if, like, suddenly Jorge's just like, I'm adding you this ride, tack up, and I don't even remember, and now I'm concerned with that. I'm not even remembering to take my pill, and then suddenly my levels are low, my ADHD pill. Then suddenly my levels are low when I'm out on the beach. So it was just like a bunch of different things. Anyway, so Jeremy's talking. That's just one thing I, like, brought up because I was still struggling, like, find exactly what was bothering. Like, it was a bunch of stuff. And Jeremy starts talking to me, I kid you not, like I'm a little girl. Like, well, honey, like, well, listen, we could just take the pill and we could put it in your pocket and take it over to the barn. I'm like, yeah, thank you. I read Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance in high school. Now, keep in mind, I'm pretty sure David was listening in on this. I read Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance in high school. I know how to break down an overwhelming project or task into more manageable increments. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, it's talking about, like, something doesn't feel right. Something feels off about, like, the situation. I don't know. I'm not doing it well. Like, and also just all this shit's getting thrown at me out of left and right field. And it really doesn't help literally being just as worried about my food situation when I'm working all day, every day, a job on a work camping situation, as I was worried for myself when I was, like, looking for jobs and just starting my job out in the dunes with no running water, no electricity, and biking back and forth across the island. And I was, like, eating spoonfuls of sugar and, like, really, really, I was starting to starve to death out there. And I started having to eat spoonfuls of sugar on the island, like, towards, it was starting to get bad because I couldn't figure out, like, how to freaking get the paper check cashed. And it's hard enough to get into town. And I'm like, seriously, you guys, seriously, you can't send me my paycheck over freaking PayPal? Oh, but Elaine, because I was like, you guys just are firing me after you just paid me my last paycheck, like 2-3 days ago. I already went out and got my food for me, my cat, I was expecting to adopt a kitten, so I got kitten food ahead of time. Paid bills, got my medicine. You're doing this after I've already done, like, used a bunch of my paycheck, and you could have done this like 2 days ago. You could have done this like a couple days ago with my paycheck, so I could have, like, parceled it off better, knowing like, oh, now I gotta save up. Like, now I'm losing my job, and I gotta go on the road somewhere because I'm getting kicked off the island, and I gotta figure out where I'm going to next and what I'm doing. With like a very much smaller portion of my paycheck, because I just spent it all on food and stuff like that, not knowing I'm about to get fired. Like, you could have done this literally 2 days ago, because they fired me on a Sunday. I got paid Friday evening and went into town and got all my stuff and everything. So she was like, well, fine, send me your timesheet, because I still had, like, at this point, because remember, we get paid like 5 days after we turn in our timesheets for 2 previous weeks. So now I'd already put in better part of a week, or like about a week, but it was no rides that day. So it was like minimal hours, It came out to about $346, what she sent me. Maybe 97 cents ahead of time to test the connection to PayPal. $346. I was like, I said to David, I'll be surprised that gets me out of the state in terms of gas. I asked, like, can I even just stay on for another week or two till I have some money, like, to leave with? Can I just work for another week or two, for fuck's sake? You guys are springing me on this right after you know too, because that's what people do. We get paid, we go into town, and we get our food and everything, stock up on the stuff we need. We get our pay like every couple weeks, and then we go in and stock up. And they knew that. That's what I did, and they're leaving me with, like, no money when they're firing me to, like, get anywhere or do anything. And now if I don't get a job real quick, like, we're camping jobs a lot now, they don't start up until like April. If you haven't got one that's like getting you through the winter, the next, kind of shift, sort of season shift, starts in April. They know that. They've been hiring enough work campers by now. They know that. So they know they're leaving me high and dry in the middle of the season. There's no jobs out there. They know they barely. So Elaine, she sent me. She was like, fine, I'll PayPal you that final, like, check. It was $346, something like that. And change. I remember $346. She sent it to me like service payment, so they took a chunk out of it. PayPal took a chunk out of it. You can't send it as a friend. Like, I did the work. The horses were fed. The stalls were mucked. I did the work. You could just send it as a friend, and any idiot who's ever used PayPal knows that you can choose send to friend, and they don't take any money out. They don't take a fee out. Like, there's still proof that you paid me. It's still right there on PayPal. You can still prove, like, look, I gave her this money. See, it says on PayPal, and I even sent it as a friend so they wouldn't take out a little piece. But no, she sent it as a, like, payment for service or whatever. Like, the only reason you sent it as you should send money as payment for service on PayPal is if you're worried that you're not going to get your full money's worth. Like, if you're worried you're going to get scammed. Because in that way, you can go to PayPal and say, like, no, I got scammed for this merchandise or this service or whatever. I need a refund back. Like, they sold me this or whatever under false whatever. Then, because you send it as service and PayPal took a fee out, PayPal can actually, like, issue you a refund. If they look into it and deem that, like, yeah, it was a scam or something like that. But I'm sorry, that's not the case when you're paying me for work I already put in, and you got cameras up all over the barn. You can see I was going in there and doing my job. I already put in that work. It's not a scam. You're paying me fair and square what you owe me. So I don't know why you would send it to me via PayPal through the services option instead of the friend option, friend, family, whatever option that is gonna, sending it to me through services option takes out a chunk of my paycheck. It takes it out of my paycheck. So do you see how they're being little bitches? And I'm sorry if Elaine Crowell is that fucking stupid that she's really gonna claim like I didn't know. Oh, that I couldn't send it, friend. Lots of people send me, and people who I've worked for have sent me my money as a friend through PayPal so that it wouldn't take a chunk out. Elaine. So if you're such an idiot, you don't know how PayPal works. When you have a PayPal account, it looks like it's been established for quite a bit. Really, you're gonna play, like, I really hate when people try to play a stupid child because they don't want to take responsibility for their callousness and their nastiness. You're a callous, nasty bitch, Elaine. Just own it. I really think it's weak. It's weak and pathetic when people, like, pretend to be, like, stupid little children. I didn't know how it worked. I wasn't being mean. I didn't know how it worked. Yes, you fucking did, you bitch. Shut up. Really? You can play stupid? Or what? Or, like, she said you had to check with the owners. Maybe, perhaps it's the owner. This is what they do, like... owners hire HR managers a lot and stuff, and management companies. Oh, beware, they're going to hire a management company now, like, to be their shield. So you could be called in to work there, like, because I was hired to Laura Halley, and then quickly was brought in to find out she's a manager, not an owner. I didn't know either way. Like, I was just hired by Laura Halley. Honestly, the way it was described to me, I thought she was going to be like a little old lady with a barn farm and maybe like 4 or 5 horses, and she gives private lessons, and I might be helping her take guys out, but she's kind of getting up there in age and needs help in the barn and needs help with electric devices. That's a lot how it was described to me. Like a quaint little job like that. Not like a big ass like ranch motel thing that that's how it felt. And well, like I believe that they said there was like a motel nearby. But it just didn't feel, like, the way it was described didn't sound like it was one big business. It was just, it kind of sounded like a farm up near a park and with a motel nearby. But it didn't, the way it was described, was not described as if it was really exactly one big business. That had all these owners, that the owners owned, like, all of that. The owners own all that, and then they just have managers managing the different parts. So the owners own the entire ranch, most of the island, the motel, the barn, and the beach situation, and the horses, and the RV lot. And then they just have managers that manage different parts of it. So you might be brought in thinking you're going to be working for this person, but really you're working for the owners. But anybody, the owners can fire you, and or the managers can probably fire you too. They might just have to get a go-ahead from the... Anyway, maybe I'll make another video talking about that. So yeah, Jeremy Edwards, oh my gosh. Maybe I'll make a shorter video. Jeremy Edwards straight up talking to me like I was a little girl. I'm 38 years old, jackass. And like I said, I'm pretty sure David Saintsing was listening in on that conversation, because he gave himself away in a conversation he was having with me, where he repeated something back to me that I had said, but I called him out. I said that in a conversation with Jeremy on the phone. And he quickly, kind of changed the conversation. Kind of like how he quickly changed the conversation and started walking away when I mentioned loggerhead turtles. I just mentioned it in passing. Why? Because loggerhead turtles regularly wash up around there. That's his property. And loggerhead turtles are endangered species. And he, really quickly, changed the subject and walked away. What a coward! it. Anyway. Oh, but like, yeah, we have to listen to him drone on and on about what were you even talking about. I started drowning you out like 2 minutes in. It's just like way more. I was just like turning over, like, hey, yo, Jorge, Chumi, what up? This is good tequila, at least. At least he buys good tequila, right? Hey, could you cook those oysters a bit better? They're like snot, okay? I like oysters, but not when they're undercooked. So I'm watching David suck down his expensive snot oysters that Jorge was undercooking. And just going, you know, I'm gonna drink as much of this tequila as I can, because this dude's a piece of shit. And hey David, why did it feel like you guys kind of be put on display for those hunters that were there? Those hunters happened to be the ones that were in the rigs along the lot, the RV lot. Like, they were in my line. So I was parked at that point facing the water, up against the water. And I noted that weekend, there were all these duck hunters coming down. A bunch of them were in the motel, but like about 3 rigs parked roughly 2 to 3 spaces apart from each other and from mine were in my row in the RV lot up against the water. And I recognized the kid because he was hanging out by one of the RVs. So there was a kid, and then there was a bunch of adult, beardy hunter men in their hunter getup. And they were there for hunting. And so I recognized them from those RV rigs in the line. So they were kind of my neighbors at the time during that weekend. They would have seen me the night before dancing around my fire pit outside the RV, wouldn't they have? They would have seen me the night before. And I've heard enough cat calls in the past and been told enough, even in the bar right there, the Bay Breeze, that I looked sexy when I danced. So those hunters would have seen me the night before, wouldn't they have? Danced around my fire pit. And then it's funny, I was invited out to a fire pit oyster roast out back behind the illegal immigrant bunkhouse. And then all those same hunters are gathered around, barely listening to you as well. And like all of them at different times taking the opportunity, they would all just turn around starkly and just look at me. Was that really like, oh, can we get a closer look at that chick who was dancing around the fire pit? Yeah, she works for me, huh? Well, yeah, I got her here on my private island. Oh, yeah, we can have her come over. You can gawk at her. David, you understand women aren't stupid, right? You're stupid. You're an idiot. Women, we do get a sixth sense, especially if we have any little bit of pretty on us. It doesn't take long after we develop in our teen years to start getting a sixth sense for when we're being gawked at and put on display for when we've been invited somewhere to be put on display, is what I'm saying. Pig. So, and then of course again you have Jeremy talking to me like I'm a little girl, and David certainly overhearing that, listening in on that conversation. I'll have to make short clips of these longer videos because I do prattle on, but I want to make sure the information gets out there. And I know people don't have very long attention spans anymore because of like TikTok. So I'm going to have to shorten these up. I know that. Like I know enough advertising to know that, but just making sure I get it all out there first, off my chest, out of my mind, make sure I'm covering all of my bases and all the points and all the problems. And then we're going to shore it up. We're going to clean it up. Good night.